And that's after more second-hand tips with more deals on wheels.
Welcome to another Deals on Wheels, the only programme that tells you everything you need to know about the second-hand car business.
If the world of second-hand cars fills you with dread and loathing, fear not, because we are here to show you how to get more bang for your buck in the murky world of old motors. Mike, what's happening this week?
Me and Rich have a go in two of the best-kept secrets of the sports car world, the Porsche 911 and the long-forgotten TVR 3000M.
That's better already.
And the humble scooter makes its first appearance on Deals. But first, a couple of old classics.
The Wolseley 6 is the big car equivalent of the Mini and the Austin 1100, cars which revolutionised the British motor industry. And to me, the Wolseley is particularly interesting because it combines all the traditional values of classic British cars of the 50s with the technology of the future. So it might look a little bit awkward on the outside, but on the inside, it's got huge amounts of room and lashings of that all-important stuff, walnut. And this one also happens to be for sale. And so is this one. Now, if you're after simple, uncomplicated classic car fun, you can do a lot worse than a Hillman Minx. With their two-tone paintwork and rear tail fins that got larger with the later cars, they ooze 50s charm. Sure, they're not very fast, but they do handle well. Now, Donald bought both his cars out of a friend's barn. The trouble is, he hasn't got much room at home, so one of them is going to have to go. The question is, which one?
Hello, I'm Donald. I'm in the ridiculous position of having 3 cars, a modern one and 2 classic cars, and I've only got garaging for 2. One has to go to make the space. So here's the 59 Hillman. Just the way it was. It's done 1,000 miles a year for 40 years, 40,000 miles. Lights just pull out the switch and a manual choke. It doesn't have seat belts, and you're not required to by law, which says an awful lot of time. Here I have the Wolseley. It's a 71. It's like a limousine to be driven in, masses of legroom. It probably produces 85 brake horsepower, I imagine. That's where they got the 1885 from. And interestingly, even the little Wolseley insignia lights up. And of course, years ago, when you saw a car with a light in the radiator, you knew it was a Wolseley police car, so you slowed down immediately. It's every bit as comfortable as my Jaguar. Keep up the modern cars on the motorways. It's got this Motorola period radio. There's something about it, because every time I turn it on, I get 1960s music. It is a little bit agricultural, this one, but the sort of cars I grew up with. It's not an inspiring vroom type vehicle. They're a little bit basic. I wouldn't want to drive this more than locally. I go down to the yacht club and things occasionally. It's a bit fun. I'd rather sell this one and keep the Wolseley. I like them both. I'll be sad to sell either. So there we are. One of them has to go. I'm asking $1,850 on near offer for the Hillman. The Wolseley's got a new MOT. I'm asking $950 for that. I'll come down a little bit on either of them, but not much.
Before we get round to this little minx, let's find out what to look out for when buying a Wolseley. Parts are readily available for the Wolseley, and they're pretty reliable in any case. Having said that, the manual 1800cc versions do have a tendency to get through clutch release bearings. Now, you can't see that, but you can hear it if it's worn. Just switch the car engine on, and at idle, if you hear a metallic chattering noise, then you know that the bearing is on its way out. And if that's the case, this engine will have to come out to fix it. They are hard cars to sell, but with all that leather and walnut and low mileage, Donald's has got to be worth £750.
The Hillman Minx is perhaps the most practical of all classics. You don't need any specialist tools to work on this engine. Anything you got laying around in a garage to do the job. One of the main worries, though, are the front wings. Not because they're prone to rust, because they're welded onto the bodywork. So as such, they're difficult to align, replace, and they're also costly. A good everyday Hillman Minx has set you back around £1,000, but Donald's car is in exceptional condition with some really desirable extras, and I reckon he gets 1,750 quid for it. Let's see which one sells first.
I'm waiting now for the prospective buyer. It's actually a classic car expert. I'm delighted it's the Hillman because I'm hoping to keep the Wolseley, and fingers crossed he should be here any minute now.
Hi there, is that Brian?
Hello Donald, it's Brian Page here. I've come to look at your Hillman Minx.
Okay, I'll come right down.
Yeah, there.
Oh, she looks
There we
lovely.
are.
Very nice.
It's the classic of the Minx there, isn't it?
My client's been after one for some time. I've looked at 2 or 3 for him, and you know, we keep finding pretty bad examples,
Rough ones, yeah.
which is sad, really. So far, so good.
No, it's okay. You just keep trying. She'll probably. Yes, it's that bloody earth.
That's it. Get the right gear. Will it be okay?
That's it. Well done. It's like driving in a time warp. This thing. I mean, we're back in the 50s.
It's real nostalgia.
Follow the road straight on.
You don't need a fast car.
Take it gently down here, and we'll.
It's pure enjoyment, isn't it?
Yeah. See? On the right, the handbrake.
Yeah.
I used to get the handbrake stuck up my trouser leg. Heave ho on the steering. So what did you think then?
Well, she's very nice. You want 1,950. I think you're a bit high. My sort of offer is 1,450.
Well,
I'm looking
that's a little bit less than I want to take. How about, why don't meet me halfway on it between my price and your price?
Which would be?
Oh, my arithmetic's terrible, so 40.
Should we say 1,550, 1,575?
1650.
Let's go for 1,625.
Okay then, 1625.
Okay, I think we've
And
got
it's
a
yours,
deal.
it's not yours, it's your
client.
custom.
Yes,
your
I'm sure he'll
client's
be
car.
very pleased.
Oh,
Yes.
that's good.
So it just goes to show that there's always somebody who wants your car more than you do. You might just have to wait a while. Mikey, tell us about the Porsche, matey.
I will, Richard. Check this out. Ever since I was a nipper, I've always dreamed of owning a Porsche 911. Cool images of Steve McQueen and James Dean plastered across my bedroom walls. I just couldn't wait to grow up and drive one. From the moment you climb into a Porsche 911, you get the feeling that you've climbed into something rather special. Listen. Just listen. Music. OK, so they once had a reputation for being a bit tricky going round corners, and they've got a bit of a yuppie image, but don't let that put you off. Nowadays, second-hand 911s represent the kind of value for money no other supercar can match. Add that to the fact that they can be driven every day of the week in any traffic conditions, and these cars are now worth a serious second look. Porsche have made an unbelievable 412,000 911s to date, and there are over 50 models to choose from, which is why they're such good value. There's just so many of them. Which model is best is a matter of opinion. Me, I recommend something like this, a 911 3-litre SC. Why? Because they're very usable, and from 1978 creature comforts crept in, like a sunroof, wrap-round bumpers and servo-assisted brakes, and for a little over £10,000 you can have a 150-mile-an-hour supercar. Its roots lie in the humble VW Beetle. Did you know it was originally called the 901? That was until Peugeot claimed that the 0 in the middle of its name was their trademark. So with all this power and German engineering pedigree begging you to part with your Reddies, what do you need to know if you want to get your hands on a good one? This classic shape hasn't changed much over the years, and don't be put off one that's done high mileage. They're famous for going around the clock a couple of times and genuinely better than their Italian counterparts. No, there's 3 really important things about buying a high mileage Porsche 911, and that's service history. Service history. Service history. Make sure it's all there, because there are plenty more fish in the sea. Right then, the oily bits. Look at that classic engine. Now, there's one really important thing to check down here, and that's oil level. For that, you need to remove the cap, pull the dipstick out, but vitally, make sure that the engine is running, because if it's not, it looks like it's empty. Then you'll top it up with oil, and you could knacker the engine. The bodies are galvanised and shouldn't cause too many rust problems, which means you don't have to keep it in a garage over winter, which is good news. However, down here at the front, they are susceptible to stone chipping, and water gets underneath the damaged paint and rust can bubble through. Under the bonnet is where you'll find the spare wheel, and it will be flat, but don't worry too much about that, because all Porsche 911s come with this handy little pump that plugs into the cigarette lighter. If it isn't there, ask why, because you'll find yourself down a petrol station pumping it up. Finally, have a butcher's inside. Many of the trim parts are hard to source these days. Take these seats, for example. They're vinyl and can cost a whacking £750 to replace. And these twin door pockets can cost £250 each to renew. A certain lifting look is okay for a Porsche because you want people to know that you've driven it hard. But tatty is still tatty, and the car's simple dash can look tired if it's too run down. So what should you pay? Well, duff old smokers start for around £7,000. But something as beautiful as this 1979 911 SC, expect to pay no more than £13,000, which really is only Vectra money. And remember, a long, long time after your family saloon has died, your Porsche 911 should just keep going on and on.
Respect you, Mike. Nice car, not your obvious choice.
I knew you'd like it. Nice big powerful engine, load of kudos in your driveway. Anyway, we'll see you in a bit for more of the same.
Check out our 10-point plan to buying a Porsche 911 at our website, www.4car.co.uk.
No gun, just squeeze and fill. New Squeeze and Fill from Polycell. It only takes 2 ticks.
I dream of my own little plot.
We dream of a bit more space.
More space.
My dream? To see the world.
The National Lottery game. Have you got your dream ticket?
At the MFI Homework sale, there's up to 50% off. Plus, an extra 10% off sale prices. Values home for good.
Big gap. No gap. Polycell Gap Gun. It only takes 2 ticks.
The Halifax will give you a mortgage decision in just 15 minutes. So you could be into your new home and making friends with the neighbours in next to no time. With a little help from the Halifax.
Can't sleep. What's wrong? Is it me?
Oh, it's not you. It's our electricity supplier.
What?
Well, have we got the right one?
OK, so worrying about your electricity supplier isn't the most important thing in life, but you do have a choice. That's why at mPower, we're always working to lower your bills.
Get closer to her with the new Wilkinson Sword FX Diamond. No blade lasts longer.
Now that's close.
FX Diamond from Wilkinson Sword.
You know I was going to varnish the kitchen table?
Yeah.
With Ronseal quick drying varnish?
Yeah.
Ronseal said it would be touch dry in 20 minutes.
And?
After 20 minutes, I touched it. And guess what?
It was dry.
Yeah.
Ronseal. It does exactly what it says on the tin.
So the last train was cancelled, yeah? And there were no cabs anywhere. I mean, there was a cab strike. Believe it? Well, I tried calling you, but my battery was dead. Yeah, so I stayed at Lucy's house. Sound convincing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Smirnoff Ice, as clear as your conscience.
With more refinement, more performance, and more control. The new Rover 25. Extraordinary drive.
If you think you know who'll win next weekend's British Grand Prix, visit www.4car.co.uk and vote. You could win a prize.
What can you get for less than 1,500 quid? It'll beat most vehicles away from traffic lights. It looks pretty funky and it never gets stuck in traffic jams. The Peugeot Speedfight, of course. This little number is proving to be a massive hit. 13,000 vehicles have been sold since it was launched in 1999. Principally because you just twist and go. No gears, no clutch, no nothing. Hours of trouble-free, cheap and practical two-wheeled motoring are just around the corner with one of these. Danny Kilcullen is selling his Speedfight because he's got a company van and he no longer needs his scooter.
Hi, I'm Danny Kilcullen and this is my dark blue Peugeot Speedfight 100cc. I've had it now for 9 months and as much as I love it, I haven't been using it lately. I've got a company van now, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to say goodbye to it. So when you're going into the town, first of all it beats the traffic. It's definitely a traffic beater. I mean, straight up along, sitting at the traffic lights, you can go up along the side of all the cars and then straight through. To fill up the petrol tank costs you about £3.30 now that the petrol prices went up again. But it's only £3.30 isn't a lot to last you a fortnight. One of my main hobbies with the bike was to go fly fishing after work, and at the weekends what I used to do was get the scooter out and disappear really. I would just be away for about 5:30 and it wouldn't take me as long because I'd beat the traffic on the scooter, get to the water's edge and start fishing for the night. Other than the biking on my scooter, I've got another hobby and this is my piranha fish. I've just liked the idea of having the piranha, so I thought I would get some, keep them in the tank and study them, see how they got on. They're pretty shy fish, but once the bike's been sold, I think the time that I'm spending on the bike, maybe spend more time with my fish, my piranha. I'll be very sorry to see it go. I mean, I'll miss it a lot, but at the end of the day, it's a necessity that it's not even a necessity now. It's just not needed. It's an accessory that doesn't have to be there. I'm paying for it when I don't need it. Well, 9 months ago I paid £2,300 for the bike, and it was a really good deal. The bike's full of mod cons and lots of extras. So now I'm looking for about £1,500 for it. I think that's a good price. The bike's well looked after, so hopefully someone that's coming to see the bike, they would think that that's a really good price and take it off my hands.
The Speedfight is a cheap little bike to own, not only because Peugeot are one of the only manufacturers to fit a number of anti-theft devices. In fact, the 100cc model of this is a Category 1 insurance. Now you do get this, a snake lock, so you can chain it to a lamppost, an immobiliser and a security-coded key system. Now these things are really reassuring when you're buying a scooter because one of the main worries is it's going to be nicked. So make sure all these things are present and don't forget to check out for any signs of screwdriver damage around the ignition key, a sure sign of a robbery attempt.
Rare is the person who hasn't been cut up in traffic by one of these things, so it's well worth giving the scooter a once-over to check to see if it's been dropped or, more likely, if it's been in an accident. Now, assuming it's super clean and that it's got a full service history, there's no reason why one of these won't give you years of trouble-free scootering.
Now these bikes have proved really popular and Speedfights sell quicker than hotcakes. I expect Danny to get his arse in price. Oh, 1,500 quid should do the trick.
Now, although Danny's isn't one of the special edition X-Team or Pros models, and believe it or not, if it was, it could be worth £500 to £1,000 more, it's still worth £1,400.
Let's see what happens.
I've got some good news this morning. Someone's coming to see the bike. He gave us a call yesterday to say they're coming all the way down from Oban, so quite a distance to travel, so it must be a serious offer. So fingers crossed they'll give us a good price. So, you to see the bike then? I'll take you around to see it. Great. Give it too much rev, it'll start to move off. think it's going okay. He's quite pleased with the bike. It's an upgraded model to one he's got, so hopefully it'll give me what I'm looking for, and I think he's quite happy to do that.
So Danny's after 1,550 quid for his Speedfight. Let's see what kind of deal we can cut.
So what do you think?
It's a nice bike. A couple of wee things, like a bit of rust from the exhaust there. So a bit of cruising at the bottom, and there's the tax. It's out down about a month or so now.
Yep. So, what do you think we should start the offer?
Well, you're asking for 1,000.
1,550.
1,550. I think.
Come on, lads, get on with it.
A couple of things consider, the exhaust.
Yeah, if you take the tax, certainly, taxes, I certainly can see that, yeah.
Thinking maybe 1,400.
1,400, 1,450?
About 1,400.
If you're happy with 1,400, I'm happy with that, yeah. Go for 1,400.
Right.
You want to do that, yeah?
Right.
There you go. Right, okay, cheers to Callum. Thank you. There you go, that's everything.
Right.
There you go. I don't know if you've used one of them before, but that's your tube for underneath your helmet and spare keys.
Oh, right, okay. Okay. Right, thanks very much. This is yours.
No, that's great, Callum. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll put this to good use then.
Right.
I'm out spending it tomorrow.
A typical teenager deal. Danny should have set his piranha fish onto him, get a few more quid, or at least thrown in his bike gear. No use to him now.
Now, if Mike can get away with recommending a Porsche 911, I'm going to introduce you to one of Britain's equivalent, the TVR 3000M. Imagine the scenario. The stock market's down, you found a squatter in your second home, and your girlfriend's just dumped you. You are going down. In a situation like this, what every red-blooded male needs is a new sports car in the garage. Something fast, noisy, angry. Something to get the testosterone pumping. Unfortunately, most of us couldn't afford a new girlfriend, let alone a new sports car. But this, my hard-up friends, could be the perfect solution. The 1976 TVR 3000M. That's better already. It has to be said straight away that TVRs do have a bit of an image problem. New ones are bought by city boys and advertising agents. 80s ones are bought by publicans and estate agents. In short, for richer or poorer, all TVRs built over the last 20 years are basically lads' motors. Toys for boys who like to be loud about it. But hang on, this little 3000M isn't noisy or leery or even flashy. It's actually very pretty, elegant even. That's because it's a TVR built in the 70s, and in my view, it's the best buy of the lot. It's got a 138 horsepower Ford Essex V6 engine. That's the same one they use in the V6 Capri. But in this glass fibre lightweight, it's good for 110 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds. Nothing embarrassing about that. And if you did want more power, there was a turbo version of this car, but that will cost you half as much again. After a short while in the 3000M, you begin to realise the car's as close to being a well-made kit car as it is a serious production model. These box glass fibre doors and the quite crude window frames, the acres of plastic and lashings of glue and staples all indicate the model's country crafts type origins. Even after 25 years, this one still smells reassuringly toxic, a kind of heady blend of hot fiberglass, exhaust fumes, plastic and antifreeze, the sort of British sports car equivalent of the great smell of brute. It's not stupidly fast, but there's plenty of performance, and it's a cosy, comfy car to drive that can easily accommodate someone as big as me, and I'm over 6 foot. Now, being glass fibre, the body doesn't rust, and it's a very high quality glass fibre body as well, which means it's free from the usual crazing and cracking problems that are so common on glass fibre cars. And the problem is that this body is mounted to a steel chassis which does rust, and at £3,000 a time to replace, it's the most important area to check out when you're buying one of these. The natural life of a TVR chassis is about 20 years, and all these cars are over 20 years old now, so if it hasn't had a new chassis, it's going to want one. A new chassis should be obvious enough because it'll be free from surface corrosion, and the seller should have a receipt for it. Underneath here, there's nothing much to worry about. The Ford engine is dead reliable, and virtually all of these parts are available off the shelf. The only other area to concern yourself with is the state of the electrics. Because it's a fiberglass car, there's no natural earth, which means you have twice as many wires, twice as many connections, twice as many things to go wrong. So just make sure everything works. Back in the 60s, TVR were the first and last company to use totally naked women on their motor show stand. Well, that was it, and the bad boy image had stuck for TVR. But if there's an exception to that rule, it's the restrained and elegant 3000M. In many ways, it's the forgotten TVR, but in my view, it's more usable and better value than the later 350i. As little as £6,000 will buy you a good one with a new chassis, and £8,000 will buy you the best. Now that's a lot more car for the money than, say, an MGB or a Tati TR, and I think you should get one.
You're right, Richard. It ain't a bad motor after all. It's set for the awful colour.
Well, that's it for this week. See you next time for another gripping episode of Deals on Wheels. But Mike, it's a limited edition. It's meant to be brown. It's worth more.
Horrible. It's like the 70s.
No, it's better than your pizza delivery machine over there.
Pizza delivery. It's the only way to earn a few quid, mate.
Have you been doing that?
I have, yeah.
Evenings off pizzas?
Pizzas. It's the only way because, you know, I can go out tonight. We've got to go and earn a few quid.
For this week's stories, great bargains and a fully interactive experience, go to the Deals on Wheels website. It's at 4car.co.uk.